Thank you for joining me. This is earnings report with Stefan. So this is where I'm going to actually go through some of the earnings and the order flow before earnings. So let's just go right to it. I'm running a little late, so I want to at least give you guys enough information before the day ends here. So this video could actually be useful. Anyway, so CF Industries. If I look at it, it's at the 63 percentile. Calls outnumbering the puts. Oh. I have to do that at least a couple of times. This is the second time this week, and it's only Tuesday, so that's not good. But anyway, so this is CF Industries. Looking at the past for earnings, if you look at it, you know, you would have lost if you bought straddle 3 out of 4 times. I'm looking at the chart. Let me look at the IV30. Yeah, basically it's in the middle of the range. Looks like it's trading pretty tightly, so maybe it's gonna move. Basically, CF is indicating, the options are indicating a 3.7% move in stock tomorrow. Basically, the average has been 2.8 for the past 4 quarters. Let's go to the next one, GMCR. So GMCR, let's see, stats that the 60 percentile. Calls and puts are very even. Order flow, if I look at it, you know, they seem pretty mixed. Nothing kind of similar to this order flow. The delta is slightly negative. The buying premium percentile is on the 60%. If I look at the past for earnings, basically you would have made money, lost money, lost money, made money. Last time I remember it was a huge move. This time it's actually saying it's going to move 8.6%, and that's what the options are implying. But the last 4 earnings, it's moved 17.9%. So you know, it'll be interesting. This stock, a lot of times what I do is, if you look at LVX, you see this blue line? This blue line represents 20-day historical movement. This red line is the IV30, which is the rolling 30-day of the implied option. So if you sold before earnings on this date, you would have lost money. You would have made a huge amount this time. This time you probably would have maybe broken even. This time you would have lost a ton. So this time it's coming around. So to me, what I don't like when I sell options before earnings is to see these huge blue lines, right? This means the stock can actually move dramatically. So in general, I don't like ones where this could happen, because it can crush you if you sold it the wrong way. And in terms of this time around, it's saying it's only going to move 8.6%. So that's pretty low. So the options are like pretty much giving GMCR no respect in terms of how much it can move. And basically the last 4 quarters, it moved 17.9% on the average. Now, one thing to note, this straddle here is still expensive. You know, it's a $10 straddle or $9 straddle, so it's not cheap. So, you know, in my viewpoint, it's a very tricky one to just go long, just because, you know, you're buying something that's at least according to the past 4 earnings cycles, it's a cheap option to buy because it's moved more. But it's risky, in my opinion, and me personally, I'm not really leaning either way. This might actually be you know, a better stock to short after earnings, and by that I mean there's like, I kind of put like some of these stocks in the growth category. This forward-looking PE, and the PE, it's pretty high, right? And if you see all the stocks that has had earnings, and today, is FSLR. Right. So for solar, basically had earnings and they sold off. King had good earnings apparently, and they sold off. So it just seems like, just from like everything from Yelp, right, to Amazon, like every stock basically is selling off dramatically after earnings. So it almost seems like GMCR might be a better trade after earnings than before earnings. NLY. Stats. It's at the 26th percentile, so it's pretty low. It's actually implying a 1.1% move, and on the average in the last 4 quarters, it moved 3.4%. It makes sense why these guys are buying all these 12-level calls. So 2-to-1 buying on the calls to the ask. Let me actually see which ones they're really loading up. Yeah, it looks like they're buying the May 12s, but you see this gigantic open interest, 39,000. So it's hard to tell, right? I've had this thing before where people are buying, but they were shorting stock. So if you bought this and you shorted stock, right, the most you can lose is if NLY goes $12 or higher, right? Because then you're going to lose 21 cents on the stock, and you're going to lose what you bought the calls for. So you have 30 cents risk if you basically essentially bought the puts, right? So by shorting the stock and buying the calls, you basically are same as synthetically buying the puts. The reason why people just buy the call, sell stock instead of just buying the puts outright is you can't really scalp, right? So if I bought this and then shorted stock 1-to-1, I essentially own the put, but I actually have the chance to scalp stock the next day. So if NLY goes down, basically you can actually scalp stock, so you can buy, sell, buy, sell. Also, if it goes up, basically you're capped out, just like a put. So we'll see. I'm not sure if that's what they're doing. It's pretty cheap, so even taking a shot to the upside is not too bad. If you look at the last 4 earnings, basically, you would have made money, lost a little, made money, lost money. So if this trend continues, maybe you'll make money this time around, because the options are implying a 1.1% move on the stock, when on the average it's moved 3.4%. So, maybe it's worth buying. Maybe not, but the financials today I think are doing okay. Yeah, so XLF is up, but it was kind of like doing worse than the market in previous days. Okay, so that's NLY. Let's go to Prudential. So basically, it's at the 69th percentile. I look at the chart; it's right around here. So it's okay. It's not the highest. The chart looks, it is what it is. Pretty neutral, I guess. And in terms of the stats, it's implying a 3.3% move, and average it moved 2.8%. So it looks like it's pretty fairly valued. If I look at the past 4 earnings, basically made money, lost money, made money, lost money. So I would say it's kind of a coin flip. Unless you really know about Prudential, then it's a little different. Let's go to the next one. It's rig. Transocean. Basically, looks like they lost, made, lost. This time around, they're implying, options are implying a 3.5% move, and basically on the average it moved 2.2%. So if history holds, 3 out of 4 times selling the options worked. If I look at the order flow here, it's pretty much a push, nothing one way or another. It's at the 68th percentile. Look at the chart. You know, it can go anywhere in my opinion. It's not telling of any way. Let's go to SCTY. So Solar City is implying a 7.5% move. On the average, it's moved 11.4%. If you look at the volatility, it's medium range. Maybe it's already taken what it thinks it's going to go out from First Solar. So First Solar reported, maybe these guys are in the same category, so it's kind of adjusting already before they announce what they're expected to do. It's down 10%, and order flow is pretty neutral. They do have a lot of out of the money calls that are being traded on the offer. Probably people taking shot to the upside, right? Last 4 earnings, if you bought this strategy, you would have lost initially, but then you would have made, lost, and then made some. So overall, it seems like generally it's if this holds, it might not be too bad just to hold to buy options before. It seems like it does move, but in terms of the order flow, it's not really saying too much, except for the fact that people are liking the upside out of the money calls quite a bit, much more than the out of money puts, right? This might actually be better to short after if they have good earnings tomorrow, you might want to short it, right? Something like that kind of strategy seems like it would have worked on pretty much 9 out of 10 stocks on these momentum stocks. You basically wait until they have good earnings. After they announce earnings, the next day you come in and short it. So it's not even worth it. Your earnings play is actually after the earnings date, not before. So usually it's been before, but since every one of these momentum stocks have pretty much been so predictable in terms of like after earnings, you just short it no matter what the announcement is, how high the stock is, and in a couple of days you should make money. So the vol should get crushed tomorrow. Maybe the first thing you do is buy some puts on the opening rotation pretty much, and then basically ride the stock down. Of course, now that I've seen the basic strategy, it'll probably backfire, right? It won't happen. But anyway, let's see Tesla. Tesla is implying an 8.7% move. The stock actually moved 15.4% on the average the last 4 earnings. If I look at the last 4 earnings, so this is the straddle price, right? The first 2 months of the straddle, up, down, made, push, made. So made, lost, push, made, and this is the vol. So this stock can really move. If I look at the year, you see how like these blue lines indicating sporadic, like massive movement. So usually when I see like these kind of big jumps in the blue line above the red line, which is the IV30, and the HV20 is the blue line, I'm not really that keen on just selling options, because when you get burned, you're gonna just get crushed, right? So yeah, this is a dangerous stock to short, but this might actually be in the perfect category again, same as SolarCity, Yelp, Facebook, any of those stocks, just basically wait for the earnings and then short it, right? Basically, like whatever the announcement is tomorrow, hopefully, like you're hoping like Tesla is going to have good earnings. It's going to jump to like, wherever it jumps, opens, you basically buy puts and then write it down. If that would have worked pretty well on pretty much every one of these momentum stocks. As in terms of like before putting bets on, it's not really leaning either way. Like you see how balanced this trades are. Plus, like these options are implying an 8.7% move tomorrow, right? On the average, it's moved 15.4%, which makes you think you should be more of a buyer than seller. But even if you wanted to do the straddle, you're talking about a $21 straddle that you're either buying, right? So that's a pretty hefty. For 1 out of 10, it doesn't actually move. You're just going to get crushed on that straddle. So that's my report for today. For those of you making bets on this, good luck. My suggestion is wait until they announce earnings, and then tomorrow just go in and buy some puts. I'll see if I'm going to do one of these, but I'm really tempted to do it, but I just haven't had, I don't know, it just, it's an unusual bet, right? Wait after earnings on these momentum stocks and just buy a put, no matter where it opens. If it opens down, you buy a put. If it opens up, you buy a put. Like you just buy a put the next day when the volatility crush happens, right? So you see how this, after every earnings, you see this blue line, this red line that just basically crushes vol. That's kind of what people do after earnings because the news is out. But what I'm saying is after news is out, you just buy a put. But good luck to you guys who are doing the trading. You guys have about 54 minutes to put on any trades you want on this. If you guys see it tonight and already missed it, I feel like the bulk of it you didn't miss because I think the most money is to be made tomorrow morning after they announce on these stocks anyway. Like today, for example, I think the lowest these traded for, this King May 17 puts, was a nickel, and they're 125 bid at 150, right? So, imagine you bought this for a nickel up to 25 cents, so you would have done great. I see, First Solar, when I look at it, what did it open up? Right, it's traded at highs like 69 bucks this morning. Oh. Let me actually reduce it. 69 bucks this morning, and basically was it trading 62, right? So you can just write these guys down. Basically like everything from GMCR to SCTY to was it Tesla, all those stocks coming up. Maybe the best bet is buying put after they announce their earnings. But anyway, take care. Hope you have good trading, and talk to you guys tomorrow.